Hello everyone. Today we've got something a little different for you. We've got an Intel NUC next unit of computing. We're going to do an unboxing and we're going to set it all up right after this. Okay, so check the video description. In the video description, I'm going to have links to the different sections of the video so you can get to the section you're interested in easy. Or if you need to come back to this video later, if you're doing a project on your own, and you want to get right to the section you're looking for, you can do that in the video description. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll do the unboxing first, then we'll get into the setup, and then I'll wrap it up and show you what it looks like installed.
So we have the 10th generation Intel NUC. This is the Core i5. This is the Slim kit. So it's very slim. Here's what the back looks like. And with this kit, we have the 970 Evo Plus 1 terabyte M.2 SSD. And we're maxing out the RAM. We have Samsung, two 32 gigabyte modules to max it out at 64 gig of RAM.
Okay folks, so I have kind of a dull razor here, so bear with me during this process. So in the box, we obviously have the Intel NUC. This is the 10th generation i5 FNK, which is the slimmest model. The SD card reader. You can see the ports on the back. It's Thunderbolt, Kensington lock for security. And you can see we have the USB-C and the USB 3.1 port on the front. Additional contents in the box, we have screws, that's for the mounting bracket, which you'll see in a moment. There's a standoff. We have the power adapter, rather large power adapter there. Some instruction manuals. And there you can see our mounting bracket if you want to mount it to the back of your monitor. That's about it for the contents. Next, we're going to get into the installation of our SSD and our RAM. So we'll start off by removing the bottom so that we can access the M.2 slot and the memory slots. Try not to laugh too hard. I had a little trouble getting the bottom off. I had to loosen the screws a little more. So there you can see on the left is our M.2 slot for our SSD, and on the right we have 2 slots for memory modules. This is our 970 Evo Plus. Again, try not to laugh. These components are very small and they can be a challenge to work with. I actually dropped the screw on the main board. I had to use my tweezers to grab it. And this is fairly easy. We're just going to line it up and gently push it in. And then we have to line the screw up. And this is another area where I had a little bit of trouble. Not too much, just a little. Be careful not to over tighten that screw. It just needs to be snug to keep the SSD from moving. Next, we're going to install the memory modules. These are fairly easy. You're going to line them up, gently push in, and then gently snap them down into place, and you'll hear a click. And there we have it. Our SSD and our memory are installed, and we're ready to put everything back together. You look on the bottom, it does have an arrow pointing to the front. So just make sure that the arrow is pointing to the front of the unit before you tighten everything down. And also with these screws, we just want to make sure that we don't over tighten them. They just need to be snug. And that's it. And after that, we're ready to move on to the software portion of this process. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go out to the Intel site and we're going to download the driver bundle for the Intel NUC model that we have. Now, one thing you'll see later in this video, I actually ran into some problems with unidentified devices in Device Manager. The Intel chipset software installation utility was not included in the bundle. They included the INF files, but not the chipset software installation utility, which is why I ran into this problem. So if you download the bundle, make sure you get the chipset software installation utility as well, and it'll save you some time. It's going to download in a zip format. You just need to extract the files. And in this case, I actually copied them out to a USB drive so that I could insert them into the NUC once the operating system is installed. The next step in the process is the Samsung NVMe driver, which we need to install for the best performance of our SSD. We're also going to download the Samsung Magician software. So now we're going to install Windows 10. As you can see, I have Windows 10 Pro selected. I didn't put a product key in. I'm going to do that later. But you need to create the media using the media creation tool from the Microsoft website. You need to create a bootable USB. And the rest of this basic process is pretty standard. If you've ever installed Windows 10, you're familiar with this part of the process. Now, what I'm going to do with this machine, once I get it up, is instead of going through all the setup screens, I'm going to actually do a Control Shift F3 to put it in audit mode. So you'll see the system preparation tool come up, and it'll automatically log in as administrator. I'm doing that so I can get everything set up, and then I'll go through the setup process after I have all my drivers and updates installed. That's just how I like to do it. You don't have to do it that way. So what I like to do is I'm going to copy all of my drivers over from the USB and put them into a folder on the C drive so that I can easily extract and run them from there. Now, some of these drivers I'm not going to install, like the IR driver, because that's disabled in the BIOS, as you'll see later. And then the rapid storage utility from Intel, I'm not going to install that either, because I'm using the Samsung drive and the Samsung NVMe driver. So for this part, I'm basically just extracting and installing drivers. And my goal is to get a clean device manager. and get Windows fully updated. And then I'm going to put the system in the out of box or OOBE so that I can run through the setup. Some of these drivers did not have an installer with them. So as you'll see here for the SD card, I actually had to go into Device Manager and find the SD host adapter and manually update the driver that way. Now at this point, I'm actually updating the BIOS. So you'll see it reboot and flash the BIOS. And there's several firmwares that get updated during this process. So for this particular driver, I actually right-clicked the IMP file and just chose it to install it that way, rather than to try to figure out which one of the unknown devices it pertained to. And at this point, I just went ahead and ran the Windows update and chose to install all available updates. And here comes the point where I realized that I needed the Intel chipset software installation utility to get rid of the rest of my unknown devices. So that's what you're going to see me do here, is download the chipset software installation utility and install that to get a clean device manager. And now, as you can see, I have a clean device manager. Everything has been identified and has the appropriate drivers installed. doing here is I'm actually just removing some apps that I really don't want on the machine. Microsoft installs a lot of different extra apps that really, some of you may want to have those apps and some you may not. I'm just going through and removing all the apps that I don't want. And here I'm just cleaning up some temp files. I really didn't clean up much, so I probably could have skipped this step. Now in this part of the video, I'm going to go through all the different options in the BIOS. Now in my case, I chose to keep everything the way it was, but you can see you have a lot of configurability here. Most of the settings are self-explanatory, but this is a really good part of the video to look and see all the different options that you have for customizing the NUC to your environment. Here we can see we can enable and disable onboard devices. Here we can see that we can actually customize the cooling. If we want the unit to be extra quiet, we can select a quiet profile and it will keep it as quiet as possible. And then you can see we have other options as well. We even have the capability to have the fan completely off. And here we also have power settings. We can configure the system for a max performance profile, a balanced profile, or a low power profile. We can also configure the sleeping type. And here is really a neat setting as well, as we can customize the LEDs. A lot of configurability here. And here's what it looks like installed at the desk. Okay, so that's going to wrap everything up. I'm interested to know what you guys think of this type of video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you don't like it, leave a comment below and let us know what we could have done better. And before you leave, click on subscribe and then click the bell to get notified whenever new content is added. As always, your comments, questions, and suggestions are welcome below, and we thank you very much for watching.